Please be advised, all music tracks used in this production are sole property of Kelsunn Communications and are original compositions. Thank you.
Hey, it's Scary Jones, executive producer of Elvis Duran and The Morning Show on Z100. I want to talk to you all about my friend and fellow Brooklyn College alumnus, Silas Kelly. Silas hosts and produces the award-winning Kelsunn-on-the-Air social work podcast. My friend and fellow BCR alum is known nationally and internationally as Silas, your e-journalist, social work advocate. His podcast, it's also listed as one of the top 35 social work podcasts you must follow. The award-winning Kelsunn-on-the-Air social work podcast.
To everyone tuning in, welcome. This is Silas, your e-journalism social work advocate. You're listening to the Kelsunn-on-the-Air social work podcast, the program that promotes, celebrates, uplifts, and highlights the social work profession. This podcast aims to educate the general public to the vital contributions professional social workers make in every aspect of society, every day. What social workers make? Author unknown. Happy Social Work Month. The dinner guests were sitting around the table discussing life. One man decided to explain the problem with social services. He argued, how's a person going to benefit from someone who decided his or her best option in life was to become a social worker? He reminded the other dinner guests what they say about social workers, bleeding heart liberals. To stress this point, he said to one of the guests, "You're a social worker, Bonnie. Be honest. What do you make?" Bonnie, who had a reputation for honesty and frankness, replied, "You want to know what I make?" She paused for a second and then began. "Well, my colleagues and I make safe places for abused children and battered wives. In the process, we do our best to make them feel that they didn't deserve the treatment they got so they can go out and do better in their lives. We make arrangements for the elderly to go home from hospitals with adequate care and run support groups so their caregivers don't burn out. When a young widow or single mother doesn't know where to turn, my colleagues and I make sure she knows, whether people like it or not, what benefits she's eligible for. And we do the best we can to make sure she doesn't get lost in the bureaucracy. We make plans with clients so they can get jobs and homes. And this is only a start. You want to know what social workers make?" Bonnie asked again. She paused and looked at every person at the table. "We make visits in neighborhoods that a lot of people wouldn't go to on a bet because we know that there are people there in need. And we make friends there who invite us back to their weddings, their luau's, and the opening of the community center that we campaigned for. We make time to listen to the elderly, the mentally ill, and the lonely. And we have knowledge and skills to help them make real improvements in their lives. We make appointments with officials and testify before the legislature to get everyone in the community a fair share. Some of us teach to make the next generation social workers. And sometimes we make plans with our friends and families and then have to break them because there's an accident, a fire, a disaster here or in another state or even another country, and a social worker is needed." Bonnie paused one last time and then continued. "So when people want to judge us by what we make, we can hold our heads up high and say, I make a difference. What do you make?" So in closing, I say, it's high time that agencies in the public sector, funding entities, and governing bodies raise the wage for social workers because we make a difference every day. Thank you. Happy Social Work Month. This is Silas, your e-journalism social work advocate and host of the show. You've been listening to the Kelsunn-on-the-Air social work podcast. This and all other programs are available on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, and Anchor podcast platforms. Go to any search engine and type in Kelsunn-on-the-Air in the search window to hear this show in its entirety. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a Kelsunn Communications production.